What's up, fam? Today I'm going to be coming at you with my Stamina Templar build for the Blackwood patch. And before we start things off, before we go into sets and everything, let me just put a disclaimer out there. This build is so much fun. You're so fast, you have a crazy amount of burst damage, and you're actually very tanky for being in medium armor. So let's jump into things. We'll start off with our attribute points, race, and Munda Stone. So to start off, attribute points, we have 14 into health and 50 into stamina. The reason behind having 14 into health is for that increased maximum health pool, because without it we'd be rocking around like 25,000 max health, which isn't the best, but you can get away with it if you'd like to. The Munda Stone that we're going to be using is the Serpent, which increases your stamina recovery by 310. And then our race that we chose is Wood Elf. The reason being is Wood Elf gives increased movement speed and some penetration, which you'll understand why it's important to the build when I go over sets and skills. So now let's head over to our sets. Our first set that we are rocking is Students. This is up on the front bar. What it does is a line of weapon damage, a line of offensive pen, a line of weapon damage, and when you deal damage with someone who is off balance, you get a whole 5,000 extra pen against any targets, which is a lot of pen. Our next set we're going to be rocking out with is Armor Master. What Armor Master does is it gives a line of max health, 2 lines of 1400 armor, and then the 5-piece, which is important, is when you're on your back bar and you use your Elude, which is your armor buff, which is an armor ability, you're going to be getting 6,000 extra physical and spell resistance. Our next set we're going to be using is Balorgs. What Balorgs is it's 124 weapon damage, and when you use your ultimate ability, you get the number of your ultimate as weapon damage, and on top of it, you get 23 times that number of ultimate as physical pen, which is huge. And then for our final set, we're gonna be rocking Torkatano Consistency, which is a mythical set, and what it does is it gives you 450 magicka recovery and 450 stamina recovery when either or of those resources are down below 50%. So if you have 50% low on magicka, you get 450 stamina recovery, and then vice versa for the mag recovery. Now to go over what the pieces are going to be looking like. So on your front bar, like I stated before, we have our Stoon's Maul, and the trait you're going to want to use is Sharpened with a disease damage glyph. Then on your back bar, you're going to be rocking Sword and Shield of Armor Master. It can be an axe and shield, dagger and shield, whatever you really prefer. I just like swords, it's personal preference, but that's how that works. Then for our head, we have Balorgs. It's going to be medium. For our chest, it's going to be Armor Master heavy. For our shoulders, we're going to have our medium Balorgs again. Then for belt, we're going to have medium Armor Master. For our hands, we're going to have medium Stoons. For our pants, we're going to have heavy Armor Master. And then for our boots, we're going to have medium Stoons. For our jewelry, we have the Torkatano with infused. We have 1 Stoon's ring infused with weapon damage. And then we have 1 Armor Master ring with protective, which also gives weapon damage. And your Torkatano is also going to have weapon damage. And for the traits on your armor, you're going to want 4 impen and 3 well fitted. As you can see, that's how I'm rocking it right now. The well fitted helps you roll dodge more, while the impen helps you neglect not taking as much crit damage as you would from all those gank blades. Alright, so now to go over our consumables, we are running our Artanium Takeaway Broth to help increase our stamina recovery, our max stam, and max health. You can get away with Bewitched in this build, but Artanium, in my opinion, is the best because it gives you that increased stam recovery. And then for our pots, we're going to be using immovable pots and tripods. There's nothing really special about these pots, but it just kind of, depending on your situation, do you want to not be able to get CC'd or do you want more resources back? Now let's go over our champion points. So with this, we'll start with the red tree with this build. What you want to do is you want to put 30 into Tumbling, 10 into Mystic Tenacity, and then 50 into Survival Instinct. From here, you then want to go 20 into Hero's Vigor, 16 into Hasty, and then 20 into Sprinter. Then you're going to go back over here, you're going to put 10 into Tireless Guardian for the reduced, since you're using Sword and Shield, you're going to reduce the amount it takes for you to block. Then you're going to come back to the top left, you're going to want to put 27 into Boundless Vitality, 50 into Ironclad, and 50 into Rejuvenation. When you get Boundless Vitality, you do want to get this to 50, but currently I don't have enough CP to run it at 50, but if you have the CP to use, you definitely want to get this to 50. Now to go to the blue tree. So in the blue tree, we start in the middle with Tireless Discipline. We're going to put 20 points into it to get our extra max Stam. We're going to go into here, put 20 points into Piercing to get 700 Pen. Then we're going to max out Biting Aura at 50, and we're going to max out Mastered Arms at 50. Then we're going to come down to the bottom right, and we're going to max out Untamed Aggression for an extra 150 weapon damage. Then we're going to bring it back to the middle. We're going to go down to Staving Death and put 20 points in the Quick Recovery, and then from there go down to Duelist Rebuff and max that out for that 10% damage reduction. And then if you have any excess CP points, you can put 20 into Precision, you can put 20 into Eldritch Insight. You can kind of play around with it into trees that like you don't have to physically select the skill up in your top. So in the green tree, once again, this tree isn't really an important tree because it doesn't really help you in PvP that much, but what I best found to run for PvP is 50 into Breakfall, 15 into Wanderer, 10 into Steadfast. Then you're going to max out Treasure Hunter. You're going to put 15 into Master Gatherer, and this is the important one. You want to put 100 into Gifted Rider to increase your mount speed, and just so you can travel around, keeps quicker, get AP ticks, basically stuff like that. And then if you have any excess champion points, you can put them down here into Rationeer, and then if you have any more, you can put them into Liquid Efficiency. But in the green tree, the most important part is getting 100 points into Gifted Rider. So now that CP is done, let's finish this off with going over skills. So for our back bar, we'll start. Our armor buff is going to be Restoring Focus, which can be found in your Restoring Light tree on the Templar. It's the last ability. You're going to make sure you morph it into the stamina cost. Our next ability is going to be Razor Call Traps. This is in your Assault tree, and it's the morph of normal call traps. Our heal is going to be Resolving Vigor. This is your dot heal. This is what you want to have up all the time. Our next buff we're going to be rocking is Elude. This gives you your Major Evasion and your Major Expedition. And then our final ability is going to be Extended Ritual, which is our Cleanse, which you can find down in Restoring Light. It's the second to last ability. And the ultimate we're going to be running on the back bar is Spell Wall. So now that we go to front bar, our spammable for damage is going to be Biting Jabs. It's the first ability in Adric's Spear. Second ability is going to be Power of the Light, or you may hear some people call it Pottle. But what this is it's when you put it on someone, and as you damage them, you stack damage, and this ability will then blow up after 6 seconds, copying the amount of damage that you do to them. So the more damage you do, the more damage this will do, and it pops at 6 seconds. Next ability is going to be Repentance. This one, while you have it slotted, gives you minor Fortitude, Endurance, and minor Intellect, which basically increases your health, stamina, and magic recovery all by 15%. And when you kill a target, you can use this ability to instantly get 3,000 health and 3,000 stamina back. It's just really helpful for sustain. Our next ability is going to be Rally. This is down in two-handed. This ability gives you your Major Brutality, which increases your weapon damage by 20%. It also gives minor Endurance, but you're already going to be getting minor Endurance from Repentance. And then our final ability we're going to be using is Toppling Charge, which is our Gap Closer. This is the most important ability to the build, because since we are running a 5-piece Stunes, when you hit someone with Toppling Charge, what it does is it stuns them for 3 seconds and it sets them off balance. So here's the key: when you stun them and set them off balance, the next ability you hit them with, you're going to get your Stunes to proc, which gives you your extra 5,000 physical pen. And then for the ultimate on the front bar, there is 2 you can put here. One I like to use is Dawnbreaker of Smiting. It's a big AoE, CCs everybody, so you can CC and go straight into damage. But the other ultimate option you can use is Crescent Sweep. It's a cheaper cost, it does a lot of damage, and it's kind of just faster to use. But it's pretty much personal preference at this point. But the 2 ults you can use is Crescent and Dawnbreaker. So that is my Stamina Templar build for the Blackwood patch. Hope you all enjoy, and I will say when you play it is a very speedy class. Coming in with the 5-piece medium, 2 heavy, so you have all medium passives. On top of being a wood elf, you have another 5% increased movement speed, so you are moving very fast.